This is Lark with Games and Gaming Miniatures. And my channel is dedicated to gaming. Until I get a better camera setup, I'm going to have to stick with computer games to start off. And I hope you enjoy them. I'm relatively new at this, so please bear with me, and if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section, and any help would be appreciated on recommendations on how to improve my channel. Alright, this game is called Ostriv. It went to early access last week. If you go to the Steam page in the store for this game, and I'll try to put a link below, you will find that there's a description on what an early access game is. They are not for everyone to play. They are in different stages of development. In this case, the developer's done a great job and it is playable. He has done 2 updates this week, so that says he's a very active developer. The problem is he has a very small team, and when he started off, he spent 6 years working on it by himself. And from what I hear, recently he's added some people to his development team. Last weekend, we had problems with the key bindings not recognizing the keyboard when we went to change the information there so we could use it the way we wanted to use it. Over the weekend, he updated it and fixed it and a few other minor bugs. Yesterday, he came out with a new patch fixing some other stuff. So it's obvious he's working on it, and he said he has a list of other bugs he's working on. So I think if we're patient with him and his team, we'll end up with a really nice game that is comparable to Banished, and in time may even be better than Banished. We don't know for sure how he's going to end up finishing the game, but let's see. A couple more things. Right now it's single player. I don't know if he has plans for multiplayer or not. Also, there's no combat in this game as far as like soldiers and stuff. Alright, let's go into options here. Audio's over here. As you could tell, I don't have the music on for this game. I don't want to deal with YouTube and copyrights. I may go back and find some free music that's able to use it, but for now, I'm going to just leave the music off. Key bindings are over there. As I said, they work now. The information on this screen here, you want a big cursor, you can make your cursor bigger. I don't want to do that because it may obscure something. All this is default. Normal is the highest setting for this game right now. I have it set for 2-minute intervals for autosave because if I crash, go back in through the autosave, change the name of a save file so I can send it to the developer if I can repeat the crash. There are 2 languages. I'm not sure what the other language is. I imagine you might find it on the store page. But I'm going with English, and then I have full screen, and this is my monitor size. If you have a bigger monitor, probably will come up as a default. UI scale, that's one of the things he updated. As you can see, there's some information not on my screen. I went ahead and set my UI at 130% so you can see it. Be very careful with this because if your monitor's not big enough to handle it, or you can't use the bigger monitor settings with your monitor, what's going to happen is you're going to lose some stuff, and I'll show you what stuff you lose. Right now, 130% works well for me. There's a brown box down here that seems to have moved down below when I changed my UI scale. I had to restart the game, and this is what I found. So, just so you know. And over here's your version. So we're going to come back out, and we're going to do new game. These maps are at your play area. There's 4, 6, 7, and 8. I've been playing on 4 a lot. I haven't been finding any lime. Iron's not available for mining yet, and salt is not available yet for you to gather. You can buy those things in the game, so it's not a problem. It's just that I would like to mine my resources. So let's try level 7. Alright, we're in game. Let's pause it for a minute so I can show you some stuff. Your right mouse button will let you spin the map. Your left mouse button will let you do this, but you also place your materials with that. And buildings and structures. And when I said materials, I meant decorations. If you do go to place something and you change your mind, right click until it gets back to the cursor. We can look at our map. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh, there's lime on the map. No wonder everybody said it was there. Holy cow. Alright. So much for that. That was quick. Alrighty. So, generally in an early access game, they will have a playable area. And usually there's a divider. See that red line? we won't be able to go past it. And I'm sure if we go around, there's more of it there. Almost every EA game I've played has had something like this, and what happens is it gives the developer a controllable area so that he can work out bugs. And then over time, they'll gradually increase the size. Alright, so let's see what we got. Over in the left corner, if you need a structure, production building, whatever, it will tell you right here. That's as closest to a tutorial we will get. Also, some of the production buildings have a thing on it you can click that lets you know about the production building. I think some of those need to be upgraded, and it is something that he can do later, and I'll explain why when we get to that. These are your speed controls. You've got 1, 5, and 12. I will play most of the game in 12 after we get started, pause, and slow it down as we go. Here's the month and the year. We start out March 1721, so that's the spring. If you go over this afterwards, it'll tell you how many years you've been playing the game. These people marker, that tells you your population. At the top half, it tells you the open vacancies and the people looking for jobs. Below that, this is the key one right here, what's below. The one on top, you can let it go. It just gives you information that you need. But the one on bottom is really important because this determines what people come to your city. All right, if you don't have a good water supply, no market, no housing available, no jobs available, nobody's going to come to your city. Matter of fact, if it gets bad enough with the food situation and they start starving, they will leave. And there's a few key things we have to do at the start to guarantee they'll stay in your city from the very beginning. And I'll get into that as we go. Over here is your treasury and your total stored resources. It looks to me like everything in warehouse buildings and stuff like that will show up on here, but if it's in a production building, it doesn't seem to show up there. I've actually had iron and freaked out because I was missing iron, and when I went over to the smithy, there was iron in the smithy. So that might be something that they might need to look into later, but it's not a game-breaking issue. The only thing you have to do is if you're out of something and you're trying to decide, do I need to scrape together a few coins to get that from my market, is to go up into the actual production building and see what's in stock there. And I'll show you about that. This is our money, and we will constantly see that changing. Matter of fact, at first, it will actually start dropping. And I'm going to show you a few tricks about that. All right, we're going to place our building. All right, apparently the area with the limestone is inaccessible. Okay. Be that way. Let's come over here. This is a temporary camp. As we build the structures our colony needs, these buildings will gradually disappear. We don't have to do anything to make the tents disappear. Alright, so let's place it. Oh, and notice if you zoom out, you just hear wind and sky noises. But if we go down to the land, we hear some other noises. Huh, neat. Hear the birds? Alright, so let's place our temporary camp. Are you ready? Here we go. Holy cow. I'm going to pause at this point and explain a little more about it. So now they've popped up saying we need a forestry for wood production. So let's go down to our bar below. This is for religious buildings. The church, which needs stone. You won't be building that. I thought I paused. Alright, let's try that again. Building into that anytime soon, and if we don't find stone anywhere on the map, we may never be building it. I hope it's not a required building. This one is. It is a small chapel. Small chapel 1 to be exact, so that tells me they may be adding other models. When you have 100 people, you have to build this. Until then, you don't. You can if you want and already have it built, but there's a lot more important things you're going to be building first. Burial plot's the same thing. Right now, people seem to only die of old age. That may change later, so I don't even fool with the burial plot and cemetery that I make until then. We have no health buildings. I do hope we'll be able to do like a apothecary type building or doctors or whatever back then, whatever they had the equivalent for. And it's not uncommon to see this in an EA game. Education's the same. Now let me show you something. He's already started laying in the groundwork for it, because right here is the education level of the person. So at some point, that's going to be implemented. This is decorations. He's got a limited number of decorations, and I'll show you how to use some of them. This is the most important line right here, the fences, because when the people walk, they make lines for pass. So I'm going to control where they get access to and how they get access to it with these fences and these arches, which I think of the arches as gates. As you see, the people are sitting on logs here. Well, you have benches you can put around your houses and all around the map and make it look nice. And then these are the trees. When you plant a tree, for example, there's a pine tree. That's how it looks when it gets fully grown. But when you place it, it's going to come out as a sapling. So don't be surprised if you don't see a big old tree when you place it. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is government buildings. Right now, the only government building is Town Hall. You will need this later, and I will explain it as we get to it. Next is trade and transport. This is where we're going to get our bridge from to go after that line, but we don't need it right off the bat. This is the trading post. We're going to need that as soon as we can get it into our planning structure, because it lets us buy things that we can't mine or go get. Plus, it never hurts to have this so you can buy some food. Market stall, that's the market that they were talking about before migration would occur. We won't do wagons, shed, or stables right away because they are for later in the game. Cart parking, well, that's exactly what it is. This is a temporary cart park. That's where they put the carts. But we can build one and it will hold more. Since I got this brought up, I'm going to show you this. There's a higher option here. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to adjust the pay. This is the only way you can adjust the pay at the beginning of the game until you get your town hall built. This is a laborer, so I'm going to pay him 50%. And I'm going to hit apply to all. I do that out of habit because sometimes when I put some buildings down, I may put more than one down at a time. And if it's a pop-up build like the market stall is, it will immediately pop up. And I could use it and adjust the pay on it and everything. So I've gotten in a habit of hitting the all button. Alright. Let's get back to this. Warehouses, you store stuff in warehouses. Granaries the same way. I won't build the granary or warehouse till later on because you have to have somebody working there. Hay barrack, I'll build one of those later on because laborers can use it. But what that does is it stores my completed hay after it's dried. Alright, here's my production buildings. See this hay dryer? That's one of those placeable pop-up buildings you can put up. There's a mowing season, so I tend to place this building early so that it can start processing the hay. But these are all your production buildings. These are your water buildings, and I'll get into more detail later. And these are your houses. I've noticed they have several different models for the houses. Over here on the left is your mini-map. There's your game options for starting, continuing, and everything. And that you click that if you want to save. If this is in your way, you can click that and just open it when you need it. World map. Let's talk about this for a minute. Once you get your trade center going, you'll be able to go to these cities. I'm not sure if the boats are there for looks or if they plan on adding something for that later. But this is a pretty cool part of the game. Hit escape to leave that. This is your info overlays. You can put that up and use it. I haven't used it yet, so I don't know exactly how it works. For now, I'm just turning it off. Click on it, turn it off. Go to Town Hall. It's going to take me to that tent until I get the Town Hall building built. And as you can see, here's population information at our Town Hall. Economy. All right, this tells us what we've got. Our exports, our imports, our income, and our expenses. Down here, once we get our permanent Town Hall, we will be able to adjust the money in the game. That really helps. Now, the game is really lenient right now on things. As far as I know, there's no morale yet. So the only thing that's going to make the people leave is if they're starving. Another thing is people have been telling me they've been going way in the negative on their money. I would not get into a habit because at some point they are probably going to add something that limits how much you can do that. It is possible to balance your money in this game, especially if you do some of the things I'm showing you. So, make it a habit of trying to do it the best way possible. Alright, now, it says it wants me to put a forestry wood production. That's our first building. Without wood, we can't build. This tent here has our camp storage. We have all of this to start with, and after that's gone, we're stuck. Our people come with food. I believe there's enough food to last for a year. Remember I told you there was help on some of these buildings and stuff? See that question mark? If you're in the 100% range on your UI, you may not be able to tell. It may be just part of the design. Depends on your screen. But if you click on that, it'll tell you about whatever you're looking at. And I don't know how up to date that is. I know like the chicken coop, it says that you use wheat. But I found out that I could add other stuff by just checking on the other things. Alright, this is the family. I have had multi-generation families in the game. So the first generation could be up above and then down and so on. Here's your money. And right now it's saying they settled in the area recently. Here I could give them money. And because of the way I'm setting up the game for the money, I will be giving them money from time to time until I get to the point where I need to readjust my methods. Here's all their supplies. As you can see, they need a flour, potato, and meat. Alright. They have to have a balanced diet. It's okay if it gets out of balance, but when they run out of food, that's when they'll leave their city. If they get out of balance, they will tell you. Alright, so let's place our wood production building, and I'm going to show you more about that after it's built. Use R. If you've left the rest of your keyboard commands alone, R rotates to the right, T goes the other way. I turn my building to the side for them to have easy access. And I'll place it right in there. Also, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put my coal piles out. I would not put more than 2 of these out because they burn firewood to make charcoal. I'm just prepping so I can get it started ahead of time for my smithy. This is something you're going to want to watch. Also, I'm going to go ahead and lay out a couple more production buildings. I have to have clay to build houses, so I'm going to put the clay pit out. This building is not removable, so put it where you want. But keep in mind, the further they have to walk, the longer it's going to take to get resources to the area. Also, the longer it's going to take to build a house, building, or anything else you're going to build with clay. Alright, let's put it right there. I'm putting the gate facing out. It's an auto build area. If you click on it, it's infinite clay. You can't remove it. Remember to put it where you want it. And I'd put it out of the way a little bit. Now, we're going to need thatch too. There's a thatchery. This is a manned building and it's got to be built. There's a gate on it. I'm going to show you something by doing that. As you see, the yellow area is the footprint of the building. There is a bluish green area on that footprint. That is an entrance. Do not block that entrance because your people will not be able to use the building if it's blocked. Alright, along in here, you will see reeds. Reeds are harvested to make thatch. So make sure where you put your thatchery is near this. Because as you can, right in there, they don't have any. The people are going to be walking all over the place for it. So that's just to make sure you kind of watch out for it. If you're going to be placing over another building, it says it's occupied. And that's going to be important later when we place the houses. So we're going to just put this right here. Alright, you can lay out your city. This area up here is telling you what's in line in the production. The more stuff you get up here, the smaller these icons are going to get. If you want to pause one, hit that arrow right there, it pauses it. It'll skip that if you've got a long line of a building queue and you want to skip a building, you just hit pause like that. Or you could click on the building itself and hit pause. In order to change the order they're building in, because it's going to build from left to right, you can left click and slide. So now it's going to build this first. But I want this building first. So we got this, we got that. Okay, so these are the starter basic areas you need to be working on before you do anything else. Alright, we're going to get our people to go to work. While we're here. Did I show you about this? Yes, okay. Sorry. I check stuff regularly, and that helps keep the game from having issues. That might be something you want to get in the habit of. You might remember it. I don't know. It just helps me a lot because I've actually discovered in a new game where I've made mistakes several times in this one and had to go fix it. Now, let's zoom in on these guys. This is so cool to watch. I love this. It is so cool to watch these guys build. I like the animation for it too. Alright, we're going to pause. I just remembered something I forgot to change. That's laborers doing that building, so I'm going to make it 50% and I'm going to apply it to all so it'll affect both. Okay. This right here activates and deactivates a building. If I find that I'm going through too much firewood, I could turn it off for a while. Right here is a resource supply. This will do different things on different buildings, but they're going to be similar. In this case, the laborer can use his hands or the cart. Later, I can tell it to use a wagon. I'll explain more about that when we get to different buildings, such as this one right here. This is the forestry building. This is where all my wood's going to be processed. This gives you a good description of it. You can come back and read it. I'm not going to read it to you. Sorry. All right. Logs, wood, and firewood are active by default. It's a sliding bar, so you can go back and forth. Bark is grayed out. You can tell it you need it by sliding the bar back and forth. Bark's going to come much later in the game, so I'm not going to waste time processing that resource. This is the stuff you've sold over time. Underneath that box, you will see stuff pop up occasionally. That's resources in that area. All right. In other words, if I need iron and coal to make nails in my smithy, the iron and coal will appear there, and then as they make the nails or whatever they're making, it will appear next to them. This building requires 2 workers, so I'm going to put 2 workers in, and I'm going to adjust the money. This is a building that will not hire women. You will see me occasionally changing buildings to put only women in them, so it keeps the men free to go into buildings that only hire women. And these are workers, so I'm going to pay them 60%. They've got to make a little more because they're working all the time. Oh, and I didn't address this right here. Looks like a little house. That's a demolish button. And it does just what it says. If it's a pop-up building like a stall or something like that, it will just demolish the building. If it's a building like this one here, the forestry, it will put it in your queue to be disassembled and you'll get some of the materials back. Just so you know how that works. All right, let's see. We told it we're paused, so it's not going to populate that yet. Let's come back over here to these buildings. This is your water well. It generates up to 1,000 water, and the citizens can drink out of it, and you can use it for production in your farms. Your citizens will only drink from the well. There is a dock option. That's used for your livestock and production. They'll use that, and it's infinite. So don't buy a dock expecting your people to use it. Make sure you give them wells. Let's go back over here. There we go. The 2 guys went to work, and you'll see them arrive in a minute. In our camp building, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 construction workers. Because we're just starting out, eventually we're going to get down to 2. But I will keep 5 as long as I can. While they're working on that, we got to have houses. So I'm going to start laying out my houses. I'm going to centralize them so that I could do other projects out to each side. And the reason I'm doing that is because the guy has to walk from his house to the building he's working in, the longer it's going to take him to go to work. And I've discovered that keeping everything centralized makes it work pretty well. So I clicked on the house, and I'm right-clicking my keyboard button R. Hit Shift to place more than one. These buildings and most of the structures will connect to the other by snapping to it. So there's going to be a little trickiness. Also, the house in the center can move side to side and stuff. So it's really fun trying to do that. Alright, so there's the first. As you see, the little green area is sticking out to the front. That's going to be the way they go into the house. Now, as you see, it stretches and twists. I'm going to try to put it exactly centered. That's 2. That's 3. He's close to the fence because I squeezed it. It made the footprint smaller. That's 4. That's 5. If I hit the Y key, it will spin it around. Up, see how that's not quite lined up? It doesn't have to be. I just like it that way. You're going to see me doing that a lot. It just bugs me. Some people, it's like, oh, it's okay. It's supposed to be that way, which is fine. I will eventually give up and do that too. Now, see that icon there? This is why we had to build the wood production first. We had enough just to get started. Look at that. They can't find wood anywhere. Well, the guys over there are cutting it, and they'll have it in just a minute. And there's our production areas showing what's waiting in their area. And as you see, there's the wood. So they'll go pick that up. Alright, so this one makes 10. So we're going to pause that. I'm going to pause it by using the screen here. Alright, we're going to talk about this part here while we're waiting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Double checking. So that's 9. When you look at this, it shows the progress, the progress meters right there, and it shows what they need to get started at point A, B, and C. Clay, wood, nails, and thatch. Right here is the resources they require, and what's happening is the construction guys will deliver the resource to the square. Let's go ahead and speed it up. When it gets there, it's going to pop into your NQ, and slowly the numbers will change between the two, and once it gets down here, if it's at the right stage, they will start working on it. See, they're about to deliver this. That means the thatch building's done. So I'm going to pause this for a minute because I want to make sure I get somebody in there. Thatch is created from reed, and if you'll notice, they're all nice and ready to go. We're going to go in here, and I'm only going to do women on this one. I know it sounds bad, but back then, they did separate the sexes with jobs and stuff. But in this case, I know the game is going to allow me so many men and so many women in different areas. So I'm trying to keep the men free for the men areas. And I know that sounds weird. Alright, I'm going to just put one woman here. She's making 60% because she's a worker. And I didn't need to hit apply. I only have one thatchery. And it's telling me there that I have no buildings at the top. You may have noticed other messages popping up there. That's just telling you what's going on in the game. So we'll speed it back up. Here we go. See, where's the progress meter? They ran out of supplies. They've used them up. Now, at the beginning of the game, if you do not get all 9 houses built, people are going to leave. You have until December to do this. I learned this the hard way. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start laying out some more of my town. You don't have to do this, but I like doing it, get ahead of my city planning. I'm going to leave a gap for the fire and coal situation there. Oh, no, we need to turn this one off. I deactivated that one because I realized I didn't have any firewood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them to make that one empty. Alright, and all the free people will come empty and put it back up somewhere. See, it says stop emptying. I can click on that and stop the emptying. Resource supply. Again, I showed you how that worked. See that icon? That means there's nothing there. We can put stuff in there later. I don't have to demolish the building to get it empty. Alright, here's a carpentry. This fixes our carts. There's a cart storage building here. So there it is. Cart parking. See at the bottom of that? It's fenced in. Make sure it faces out. If you put it up against a fence or something, you guys can't use it. As you see, our icons got smaller. I think I've built enough to get us started. Alright, as our people move into the houses, they move all their stuff in with them. They have a year's worth of food. Their tent will disappear from over here. Oh, the well. I also like to have an extra well. The well also has a green area, see it? Make sure it's not blocked. Okay. Our well, as you see, is going up slowly. Problem is, one well is not going to be big enough for everybody. And as you add more population, more production buildings that require water, you're going to want to build more wells or a dock near the production building. And more wells for the people. Alright, so as you see, the paths are starting to form. And I can control where those paths go. For starters, we're going to put some decorations up. It gives us a chance to do something while the game catches up with our planning. I like to use the pine trees, and I'm putting it between each house. If it's yellow and overlapping, you can't build there, which means we can't put terrain up inside the square of the house. However, each one does come with a tree and stuff. So what that will do is grow and change over time. However, am I crooked? Oh well. I can go overlap it and then just pull it out a little bit. There you go. And I took my hand off shift. Okay. Again, I took my hand off shift. Alright, so let's look at the bushes. I like to put this particular bush next to the walkway. It's hard to do when it's not built. Bushes cannot be removed yet, while the trees can. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But I have not been able to remove the bushes yet. And this is the dog rose bush. That's what I would like to see in this game, that brown area. It tells you how to do the buildings. Maybe right above it, post what you're trying to place in case you forget while you're doing it. Yes, oddly enough, I'll get distracted and forget what I was doing. Mostly because I'm talking to you guys. Which is a good thing. I know it sounded bad, but it's a good thing. And as you see, it's telling me that I'm putting the benches up. And the reason I'm putting up the benches is the people need a place to sit down and relax. You have to right click to get rid of it. As you see, the game starts. They have a log to sit on. I'm giving them something better. I would love to see rocking chairs. Maybe even rocking chairs on the front porch. As you can see, we've got different types of buildings. We've got a plain building. We've got a building with a roof-covered porch. We've got pillars with wooded on the side. That white area in the center there is a fireplace. I'm thinking that might be a placeholder. Some game companies, when they're doing the EA stage, you will see placeholders in the game, which are objects that don't quite look like the object they're intended to be. But it's something they're using in place of it till they get the graphics designed laid out for that. So don't be surprised if you see something like this in a game. Ah, there's a different building there. Let's see, it's June, so we're doing pretty good. We got 5 built. And if I zoom out all the way, you can tell I got crooked a little bit. It's okay. You do not have to lay your houses out like I do either. And to be honest, the houses weren't perfectly laid out like they are now. You don't have city planners. You might see a house out there and a house over here. And to be honest, in this game, in some cases, it might be better to build the houses closer to the area where the people might be working. I discovered by accident when I laid my farms way over in like an area like this, way away from the houses, so I had plenty of room to build my farm, that my people spent an awful lot of time walking back to the farm and not much time working at the farm. It took me a little while to figure out that's why I was not harvesting my crops as fast as I thought I should be. Also, the field size affects that too. That's number 5 in June. 4 more to go. Now, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you about containing where these people can go. Now, let's do it from the front. The building's almost done there. Alright. I have a fence. I like 4. Try all of them. See which one you prefer. Alright. As you can see, when we come down here to put our fence down, the post goes down here. And then we drag to bring it out. If we overlap part of the building, it's going to highlight it and say it's occupied. Now, what I'm doing is I'm creating a point where these people can come and go. And because I have my buildings, this is part of the reason I don't like having my structures crooked, is because it's hard for me to tell where I place things. All right, as you can see, our people are using our benches. Now, they will either come out at this end or this end. And as you can see, even though I tried to stay straight, it's not straight. I'm the person that can not draw a straight edge even with a ruler. I have to work at it. I have to have notches on each end of the ruler to make sure I get the thing perfectly straight. Which annoys me because my husband can do it every time. Alright, let's see. We can plan a couple more buildings. Let's see what we have. Got the thatchery. We got that. We got that. Alright, we're going to plan in our first food production building. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it, but I'd recommend the fish. Boatyards required to build boats. Let's see. It has to be along the bank. That's a good spot. Fishing dock is needed to catch the fish. In this game, the people do not fish off the fishing dock. They have to have the boat. I don't want to mess up my thatch. There we go. So, what happens is there's a guy over here that's going to build the boats. He's going to row it down this river and deliver it to the fishing dock. 3 more houses to go. Alright, while we're doing that, I'm going to do a couple more things here. I'm going to start laying out this side of my building. And I'm not going to play with that yet, because I'll put that there. There'll be one there. Alright. I'm going to just put a little bit of a gap because I may put benches along there. And because I may be building some houses to the left, I'm going to just leave a little room there. And I'll show you why I'm doing that. Because of the buildings when they snap to a point. Yeah, see the flags? Flags show where a building footprint is. Look, you can see where I messed that up. Not really messed up. I just didn't get it the way I like. But I'll live with it. Alright, this is a market. People go there to buy stuff. The barrel goes to the back. In the front, you will see some shelves. I'm going to get it close to this fence. Hold shift. I'm going to place 3 of them for now. As you see, it's popping up. That's what I meant by pop-up. Alright, I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to adjust our money. Somebody has to man it. I'm going to make it all women. However, men and women will be able to fill it up. Apply all. That means all 3 of them now should be set up that way. There you go. Alright, we're going to start off by giving a woman a job. And this is an alphabetical order, but for some reason my brain just does not accept that. And you'll watch me on different buildings go up and down trying to figure out where it is. Alright, so we're telling to gather firewood. That's the firewood area. It's going to tell you how much is in stock. If we watch, see that empty box there? That's our first slot. Second, third, and fourth. There's firewood in it. We're going ahead and give somebody else a job. And I'm just double checking. And we're going to put firewood in there too. And we're going to go ahead and prep the fish. Just that way I don't have to remember to come back and do it. Underneath you see the laborer. He's going to go carry stuff. And for now we're going to go ahead and just put all fish in this one too. What happens is they deliver so much fish each time, and I want to get a continuous production. For example, I have 100 wood right now. You annoying pickle bucket. What happened is I didn't pull it far enough this way, or I pulled these two too far that way. I think it's the opposite. I think I pulled the others too far. But that's okay. It adds character. Now, as you see, that instead of going willy-nilly from each point over here, they're coming in and going in at the entrances I've set up for them. Still can't believe I did that. That's okay. Like I said, it probably bothers me more than it bothers anybody else. You can also use decorations to force people to go around different things if you want. I think we'll do a little something there extra with my decorations. That sounds like a plan. Alright. We can work with this. Somebody posted in discussions that we ought to have some kind of alcohol building and a place to serve it so that people have an excuse for having their city laid out where the fences are all crooked and stuff. But hey, it's fun for us. Let's get a bench. And we can adjust the benches, or we can leave them alone and put the benches in there crooked too. See? It can go crooked, but hey, let's put it right. Homeowner might not have wanted it that way. Now, if we wanted to, since that one's not under construction or built, we could hit the house and delete it, and it just delete it, and we can adjust it. You saw me doing that earlier. I just couldn't remember if I explained that to you or not. I did tell you if they tear the building down, it's going to end up in the queue. We are working on the last house, and it's October. Awesome job, guys. Let's hear it for our guys, okay? Let's hear it for them. Means we're not going to lose any families. Hey, our carts are wearing out. Yeah, they've been busy. And they are. See, there's a progress bar under them. I still want nails first. They can tote stuff by hand. Also, there's one other thing I forgot to warn you about. If you're in this UI and have it up to 150%, you will not be able to see this area on these boxes. Alright. I'm not sure what they're going to do about that because you can't move it. What I would like to see is parts of the AI be adjustable. But that's something that they can do down the road. But be forewarned, if you're in the basic monitor setting that I have and you decide that you want to blow this up as big as you can get it, 130 is the max you can go without losing the ability to access certain things. Alright, we're going to delete this. We'll hit delete. This is one of those areas that can just delete. Get it out of the way. And as you see, the other tents have vanished. Now, this is what's left in our camp storage. I'm going to go over here. And there's our smithy. And I'm going to show you something on that in a minute that's really neat. Alright, we're going to click on the smithy. Go ahead and assign a worker and adjust his pay. I should adjust the pay first. But there's nothing in the game that says they get mad when you suddenly pay them less. Horseshoes. We don't need them anytime soon, so we're not going to make those. This is because we have to buy our iron, and at first I'm going to have to let my iron last as long as it can. We got nails and we make metal parts. We're going to need both of those. Over here is how much we have in stock, and what will happen is it'll put our resource materials for work on the left. On the right, when we build stuff, they'll pop up over there. I'm going to click on this one with a green arrow. And I'm going to let the laborers use cart. But as you see, we have something new. That we can adjust. I'm going to see if I can get it up to 1500 because I think that's what we have in stock. And I'm going to leave the coal at 5,000. On the right tells how much of that material we use on a yearly basis. Alright, we'll see if they bring all my iron over here. Alright, we're going over here. We're going to do the same thing. Hire a guy. I suspect we've run out of free workers. Labor by cart. I'm going to go ahead and let him use 5,000. Oh, we did have somebody. 5,000 wood. And that should be iron, but now it's wood. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the carpentry building. And I'm going to let him keep 100 there. Not that I have 100, I'm just trying to give him a place to go. Alright, here's the one that we put the coal and iron. Yep. I just got my buildings temporarily mixed up in my head. Alright, we've got a floater running around. He's going from building to building. So let's go ahead and free somebody up for that job. Right click, fire somebody. We will be micromanaging the first year. December's here, it's starting to snow. We will be micromanaging the first year because during the winter certain buildings don't work and those guys can help build. So he's building and he's building. And we got this building ready, so we're going to lower the labor fee to 50. And there we go. Now we're going to transfer our carts from that building to this building. They're not going to move right away, but all you do is you go to camp parking, click on it, hold the left mouse button down, drag it. You'll see a blue line going from the old building to the new. Alright. That one needs repairing, so it probably won't go right away. This one should go when they return. And this is a 4-cart building, so we can tell them to build another, but I'm going to let them repair the carts we have first. Let's see, our firewood is 10,000. Stop emptying. I'm going to tell it to stop emptying. And I'm going to activate it, which means they're going to put firewood in it again. We should have enough. If it gets to be a problem, we can always stop it again. And we don't necessarily have to empty it when we stop it. Alright, as you see, they skipped this house because it's grayed out, because I paused it. And they immediately started on the boathouse. Boathouse and fishing dock do not work during the winter, but we can let the guy fill up the wood in the boathouse so that it's ready to go first thing in the spring. Alright. And let's see. I'm going to do labor by cart, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can give them some extra wood to keep on hand. I believe it takes 2,000 to make a boat, and I don't want them to have to run back and forth for supplies if there's not a laborer. Alright, so he should stock this up. Problem is, he came from this building here. That somebody else's came from another building. See, they move around where they're needed. To keep that from happening, I'm going to just send another guy to help. So now they're filling up. There's a laborer that's trying to help, and he'll go himself, see? Yeah, if you're wondering, these little arrows tell you where people are, see? I think that kind of looks neat. I haven't figured out why they change colors yet. If anybody's figured that one out, please let me know. I'm sure it's probably written somewhere, and I'll look it up eventually. But as long as my people are working, I'm happy. All right, it's January. And if you put your cursor over it, it says 1 year from when the settlement started. Actually, the settlement started in March. So I guess that means that they're going by the year, not the month. Our money would be going down much faster if I hadn't been doing the things I have been doing to adjust the money. That just slowed it down a little bit. And I have found those two numbers are as close as I get for a long, extended period of time to allow them to make money. While we are just about done with that building, I'm going to go ahead and start laying out my next group of buildings. I don't want to get that close. Let's see if I can correct some of my stuff here. And I'm going to just give them a row between the two houses. Try to line up the fence line. That's why we didn't put our archway up yet. You think I'm bad at laying out my houses? Wait till you watch me lay out my crop fields. It's sad, really. Let's see, did I get too close there? No, one got a little close, but it's not going to block it. Well, let's reactivate that. Oh, wait, not yet. If they're working on a building, you reactivate the pause, they will immediately go to the one that's in the front of the queue. Learned that one the hard way, too. I said, oh, I'll just go ahead and get this ready to go while they're just about done with that. No, they stopped working on the one they were working on and went immediately to that. Now, this looks a little rough because they're treating that as snow-covered, too. So it takes the fun out of watching that one build. Now, I'm not going to man this building right away because it's going to take my last free worker. And then I'd micromanage him back into building. There's no point in wasting the time. March is almost here anyway, so that's going to make things really interesting. They built our second well, and it's filled up. Let's go over here to the town center and all. We can get rid of this now. Nope, they're still repairing them before they move them. I did tell them to move them, right? Let's double check that. Yep. Okay. And our tent here only has 300 iron. So let's try something here. According to this, I only have 300 iron. That's what's in that storage building. And the rest of it's over here. That proves what I was talking about, so you can look at that. We are starting to thaw. At this point, I would be moving people around, but since I didn't assign anyone to this, and he was still stocking that one, I'm not worried about it. But I will be moving one of my construction workers. Come on, guys, just a little bit more. And as you can see, we've got 100 wood here, and we got 100 wood here. I can't believe they're walking straighter than I can put the buildings down. Now, at some point, we'll build a bridge so we can get to the line, but I'm not in a hurry. There's a bunch of other stuff we got to do first. And I will keep saying that. You could do stuff in whatever order you want. I'm just recommending the order. You do not have to start with fisheries. You could start with a farm. However, the farm does not start planting crops till March. That's why I start with a fishery. You have to plant the crop and wait till it grows. In this case, I just got to wait till a guy brings a boat. I'm going to mark that so he can start working on it. Now, I haven't put anybody in this building yet. If we go over here, this guy has started on the boat. Click on client. It's telling us it's for this client, and it'll bring up the information. All right, as you can see, like I said, it takes 2,000 to bake a boat. We have 2,400. So he is going to have that progression bar. As soon as he gets in the building, we'll start moving up because we planned ahead and had him putting wood in there during the winter. So we will wait to the last second to bring somebody in here. I can't hire women. And I'm going to increase the salt, and I'll explain about the salt in a minute. We don't have any yet. That's one of the explanations I can tell you. I accidentally put 10,000 in, so it says I can have 5,000 salt stored there. That's a bit excessive. Let's make it 1,000. So you can put in too much and have it put extra. By default, since we don't have salt, this is grayed out. We will have to adjust it later. I find the best production work is to have all 5 guys working. What happens is you collect 50 fish. If you have the salt in there, they salt it. There's a boat here. The guy's already delivered the boat. I didn't get to show you, let you see him doing that. So we'll send somebody down there to work. We're down to our bare minimum now. Anything additional we do with our people, we will have to move people around as far as the men go. And this is why the women got some of the jobs and the men didn't. Alright, so I went ahead and told it to build the other boat so when I had enough men I'd be able to do that. And now, let me show you what I was talking about. You see they're working here, right? They've already started. Now watch what happens. It's going to take a minute for them to adjust. There you go. So now they're doing that building. They have stopped working on this building. The only exception I have found to that so far is if you place a building in these trees, which I do not recommend, they will continue building the other buildings until the trees are cleared. And it takes 2 to 3 times as long for a building to be built when you do that. Let's see what we got here. We're still doing good on firewood, so I'm going to leave stuff alone there. Has this been emptied yet? They're still working on one. Another storage building I'm going to show you is the warehouse. I'm going to start grouping them up here, so they're close to an area. And I'm going to start off with just one. And I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing with that once it's built. Alright, here goes our fisherman. Watch, he comes out, gets in the boat. We're going to zoom in. He rows out, finds a spot, and goes fishing. Now, I wish he threw nets out and stuff. To go through this much animation and not show him actually fishing is a disappointment. But it's not bad. He's got his bucket of fish. He's bringing them back. I still think they ought to be able to fish off the dock and bank. Maybe less fish because they're fishing by hand and they're using the boat with a net. I don't know. Did he really just take that fish home? No, that's the freeze-dried fish. Ah, okay. He left it down here. And now somebody has taken it to the store. Let's see who got it. Ah, there it is. Now somebody will come in there and buy it. They bought the wood. Ah, we're getting a nice stockpile of wood there. Up, I think we just got another. Nope, that's a fisherman. Thought we got another delivery. No, we didn't. So now, we've got food coming in. The people will buy the raw fish, take it home, and cook it once they need meat. Nobody's bought it yet, so it'll just stockpile. As far as I can tell, there's no spoilage in the game right now. And this is a good place. We've got a balance. We've got our entire population. And we got our houses laid out for the next round of houses for getting our migration up. If we click over here, there's no housing available. That's the only thing that's going to slow you down on getting people in your village. As soon as this house is ready, it will change that. And as you see, no trails going through anywhere else because I put the fences up. Gradually, I'll extend my fences around here. Just make sure I'm not blocking any buildings. And we'll clean this up a little more and control it more. This is empty now, so I'm going to delete it. Because it was a tent building, it just deleted. This still has 300 in it. I can't do anything with that till we get the town center built. Now I'm going to build my 10th house, but I'm going to go ahead and slide the warehouse up because I want to show you how it works. And just getting one more person isn't that big of a deal. Like I said, they already had part of the foundation laid and they came over here to work. As you can see, I got crooked with my house. Oh, the cart has squeaky wheels. And like I said, if this drives you nuts, I'm sorry. I know some folks can't stand stuff to be like this. And some don't care, and some say, hey, go for it. My crop fields are worse. If I get one straight and perfectly square, it is purely by accident. And some are so bad that even I have to fix them. Another thing, the people will change clothes. During the wintertime, they actually wear coats. And I think that's a cute touch. Notice I'm not selling them any clothes yet. Could you imagine a bunch of little naked people around because I didn't sell clothes? That was tacky, wasn't it? Alright. Oh, I just can't get that picture out of my head because I'm not building clothes that are running around naked. Alright, as you see, we're starting to dig into the trees here because the guys have been cutting the trees down. Alright, we can also manually specify a tree to cut down. Just by clicking it, we can either protect it or remove it. Alright, that becomes into play if you want to start peeling back over here. But keep in mind, if these guys have to walk all the way over here, that takes time out of their job. Alright, they went and cut it. So if you want to get rid of these trees over here, you might have to do a second building. And I'll actually consider that when we get more people. More buildings we got, the more people it takes. See what we got here. That one's ready to be used. And we're doing good there. He's keeping metal parts in stock. I think we told him to keep some, didn't we? Yep, 100. And then there's our 2 carts. They're all repaired, even though they're starting to wear down. We're going to slip in and make a 4th cart. My people will be so happy to have another cart. And what I like to do is I put those cart sheds around production buildings and warehouses to give them extra carts over time. Just don't go crazy with that because your resources are limited, and if he's building carts, he can't repair them, vice versa. I think we better add a couple more wells. I'll move it a little bit down since it's our new neighborhood's down further. And we'll just put them right here next to the fishing building. And I'll separate a little because of the blue, see? So I'm going to give them room to get in there. Adjust the building a little bit. And yes, I could put them in the actual neighborhoods. If I get a big gap on each fence side, I could do that too. We decided we were going to do something special about this other gap here, didn't we? I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put a couple more benches there. Oh, we're going to talk to you, Susie. Well, if I do that, they're going to start going around them. Let's leave it alone. I could set a few more benches up in there and do like a neighborhood area where they could talk to each other and stuff, but I do that, then this path is going to disappear. Oh, we got a new family. And you can tell it's a new family. Oh, they got somebody from the back of their family. Yeah. See, this is the second generation. They've got 10 coins. And this is the food they brought with them. Alright, so we got a man to go. Let's put him in this tent. For now. Because we're not building a new building yet. That little icon above that tells us we got a problem. Oh yeah, we're out of nails. That's the reason I'm building that building, so I could get the nail production up. Huh. Also, I noticed that our storage building tent disappeared. Means everything is now in the smithy for iron. We will have to watch that because it means we can run out of iron if we're not careful, and we're going to have to buy some. Also, one of the guys working at the smithy quit working there temporarily. It must be, yep, see how much stuff we got here? That's why we got plenty. He will come back when he needs to cut more trees down. There he goes. I still can't get over it. If you're away from the city, you can hear the wind. And you get on top of the city, you can hear what's going on in the city. That is such a neat touch to put in a game. Yes, it's the simple things that make me happy. I'm so happy. Okay. We're waiting on 28 nails. Great. Can't find a nail anywhere. Yeah, you can't go to the smithy. It's things like that slow you down. That's why you don't want to turn production completely off on certain items in the game. Yep, that's enough nails right there. We got 30. They just got to get the laborer to go pick them up. Notice the icon's gone? Alright, there's my nails. Where'd they put them? Because they're in little boxes. I was going to show you the box. I guess they're under the deck. Dang. I'd like to see shelves in it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to set this for women. Adjust the pay. Next video, I'll try to avoid from telling you to do that all the time. I leave the laborers men and women because if there's any free men, they'll help with the labor. Also, take from other warehouses. This is going to be my main warehouse area for the basic warehouse. Granaries will have their own area too. And I'm going to click to add resources. The first resource I'm going to add is firewood. Right now, there's no production limits as far as what the warehouse will take. I'm going to add a lady. When she's not busy with this warehouse, she'll help with the other. As soon as I get some nails and metal pieces, I'm going to add them. But since I have none, they're not going to show up for me to choose them. And what's going to happen is once I start putting nails in the warehouse, as soon as they make them here, they'll get somebody to bring them over here. And what that does is it helps me get more nails. Alright, so nails. Let's see if I can get it before they leave. Well, there's the metal parts, so we'll do the metal parts first. Somebody already picked up the nails. There's nails. So, instead of sitting over in the smithy building up in there, they're just going to pick them up and carry them to the warehouse. Which works out really well for me. Because it lets me slowly, gradually build up my nails. And it keeps the guy there working. Alright, and I'm going to put wood over there, which is going to empty some of the wood out of here. If you have to resource supply, I'm going to say the laborers can use carts. If you have to empty one of these buildings, this make empty will do that, just like it did before. I do that sometimes if I'm moving buildings around. For example, if I had started with these markets out here and I just finally got the fence built and put one of them against the fence, I would do them one by one. I'd build the new one, put somebody in it, get it set up the way I want, and then I'd tell it to empty. And what'll happen is they'll take everything from this tent and put it in there. And then I could delete the old one. And that works out really nice. We got 30 fish. There's 60 there. There's 60 there. And I could go ahead and open up the other market to give somebody else a job. Let's double check some things here. And there we go. And we'll let her do all fish. Now we could change this later. Do we give her firewood? All right, let's let her do firewood too. I don't want her to feel left out. So right now we have a stable building. Click over here. Nails are still at 0, but the firewood's slowly moving in there, and so's wood. I will need more warehouse buildings over time. But as it is, I just wanted to finish this episode by getting everything stable, houses started, a food resource started, and a market started so we could get more people. So the only thing holding us up on migration is no housing available. All right. If you look up there now, you will see I've got people are moving around, so we'll leave open vacancies alone. But looking for jobs, we've got 4 women looking for jobs. As they do labor projects, that number will fluctuate. All of them will. So here we go. They're building a new house, and this will change. Watch for it to change once the house is built. Nails are an issue. Okay, everything's green. That means that's an empty house. And if you click on the house, it'll tell you the same stuff. It's a vacant house. I'm ready. Somebody will move in here at some point. This is just to get you a good start in the game. If you do it the way I did it, and you get your houses built in, you've got a good start, and you're controlling how much money you're losing. Yeah, we're still losing some money, but I think I've set every building to keep that from happening as fast. But you're still losing some money. And there's no way around that part other than lowering their pay, and then you'll find yourself giving them more money. This is Lark with Games and Gaming Miniatures. That'll do it for this episode. If you like my video, why don't you do me a favor and hit that like button? If you didn't like it, that's okay. Not everybody likes every video on YouTube. You can hit the dislike, and if it's something that I'm doing wrong and you think that I might be able to help me improve it, please post it in the comments. If you have any questions, post them in the comments too. And please, it helps me if you subscribe to my channel, and if you hit the bell notification, it will tell you when I put a new video up. And that subscribe button is easy for you to find. It's that big button under my video window that says subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all again later.